For decades, HR has wrestled with the elusive challenge of performance management. We've built frameworks, rating scales, and annual review systems, all with the intention of helping people deliver more and better work. And yet, if we're honest, most of those systems haven't delivered. They've absorbed huge amounts of time, created dread in both managers and employees, and rarely resulted in anyone performing better as a result. So what does drive better performance? If we strip away the bureaucratic clutter and focus on what really makes the difference, 3 elements stand out. Regularly refreshed goals, course corrections through timely feedback, and employees owning the performance conversations themselves. Let's have a look at this first one, goals that stay relevant. One of the biggest flaws in traditional performance management is the fixation on annual objectives. The idea that something we set in January will be still relevant in December is optimistic at best. The modern workplace is simply too fluid for yearly targets to remain fit for purpose. What actually works is team-based goals that are refreshed regularly. Instead of cascading smart objectives from the top and leaving them to gather dust, high-performing teams revisit and reshape their priorities often. At a company called Apartment Therapy, for example, quarterly or monthly goals are reviewed not just by managers but by the team itself, ensuring that the work remains aligned, relevant and motivating. Performance isn't about having a neat spreadsheet of objectives. It's about ensuring that everyone knows what matters most right now. Secondly, feedback in the moment. The second driver of better performance is small course corrections through feedback, not the dreaded once a year feedback dump. Human beings can only change one habit or behaviour at a time, and only when the feedback is given at the point of the actual behaviour and when it's happening. Feedback that happens in the moment, when the behaviour or outcome is still fresh, can actually be acted upon. That's why frequent check-ins are so powerful. Companies like Cargill and EY have moved away from appraisals and instead invest in helping managers develop coaching skills, encouraging listening with curiosity rather than delivering judgments. These ongoing adult-to-adult conversations feel less like a trial and more like a collaboration. They allow for small performance adjustments before problems escalate, while reinforcing good behaviours when they still feel meaningful. Perhaps the most important shift is moving performance conversations from being manager-led to employee-led. Neuroscience shows that hearing the words, "I'm going to give you some feedback," triggers the same threat response in the brain as hearing footsteps in a dark alley. No wonder annual reviews make people feel defensive rather than open. When employees are invited to own their careers and performance, the dynamic completely changes. Instead of feeling like a nervous pupil waiting for an end-of-term report, employees come prepared with questions, reflections and ambitions. This shift matters because curiosity and ownership are the conditions for great performance. Employees who say, "Here's what I've been working on, what could I do differently?" are going to be much more open to feedback than those who are simply being told how they're doing. Companies like Vistaprint have pioneered this approach, scrapping appraisals altogether and leaving it up to employees to initiate and shape conversations about their performance. It can feel strange at first, making this shift, especially in organisations with a historically parental style. But once it catches on, the quality of conversations is dramatically better. AI tools can even help by providing employees with prompts such as, "I'd like to explore the skills I should build over the next 6 months," or "Looking back at my recent projects, Here's where I'd like more feedback. What's your perspective? If these three ingredients, dynamic goals, in the moment feedback, and employee-led conversations, are what really drives performance, then it's clear why traditional reviews fall short. You know, annual objectives are outdated almost as soon as they're written. Yearly feedback is both too late and too threatening to be useful. And ratings are not just bad data plagued by bias and recency syndrome, but they actively discourage openness. If a conversation ends in a grade, employees will naturally try to cover weaknesses rather than explore them. In short, traditional performance management was designed around mistrust. You know, we created elaborate processes because we didn't believe managers would otherwise hold conversations with their people. We invented ratings because we wanted to force differentiation, even though our ability to judge others objectively is fundamentally flawed. But the truth is simple. Ratings don't drive better performance. Great conversations do. So what does a future fit performance approach look like? Well, it's process light, stripping away forms, ratings, and bureaucratic templates in favour of genuine conversations. Adobe, for example, they reduced their performance management to a simple conversation about priorities with no central documentation. It's team focused, recognising that most work happens collectively, not in isolations. Teams that regularly review and reset their goals together stay aligned and motivated. And it's employee-led, giving the individuals the tools, the prompts and encouragement to initiate conversations when they need them. The role of HR is not to impose heavy frameworks or compensate for weak managers. It's to create the conditions where these better conversations can flourish. That might mean coaching managers in adult-to-adult conversations, equipping employees with confidence-building tools, and ensuring that performance management is designed as a human experience, not a bureaucratic task. If we want better performance, we don't need more forms, more ratings, or more annual cycles. We need more conversations, frequent, open, and employee-led.